Fellow Ambazonians, I have tirelessly emphasized the importance of unity and collaboration within our struggle for a free and independent Ambazonia during my tenure here at the interim government. While we may not have achieved tangible results yet, I firmly believe that we have taken significant actions to back up our claims. Many of you have witnessed the numerous efforts we have made under my leadership to foster unity and collaboration. Unfortunately, there are individuals who claim that our focus on unity and collaboration stems from the fact that the interim government is fragmented, fractionalized, and incapable of achieving anything on its own. They insinuate that I am only advocating for unity, so to consolidate power within the interim government. These allegations couldn't be further from the truth. Despite the various factions that we see within the interim government, I am proud to assert that the People's Interim Government remains the most stable and popular in terms of management, visibility, stability, fundraising, engagement on the ground, and diplomatic influence. This interim government continues to possess the most powerful and respected voice when it comes to setting policies and direction, advocating for our cause, educating our masses, and shaping public opinion. Therefore, let me be clear, our voracious pursuit of unity and collaboration is not driven by any weakness. We have the support, the resources, and capabilities to pursue our goals as a group without dependence. Our cabinet is united and stable. The Restoration Council is engaged and supportive, and our local governments and counties are actively involved too. We also have dedicated restoration fighters on ground zero who are ready to take action once provided with the necessary resources. These factors alone should be enough for us to forge ahead on our own and focus on our plans, leaving behind those stubborn leaders and groups who refuse to collaborate or unite. However, we have not done so. We have not relented. We understand the crucial role unity and collaboration play in a struggle of this nature. Regardless of the strength or resources of any group may possess, the ultimate power lies in the collective will of the people, in this case, Ambazonians. Indeed, the saying, many hands make light work, resonates with us here. Unity and collaboration will consolidate our scattered resources, align our plans and objectives, and present a united front with a clear roadmap. It will demonstrate that we are not only united in purpose, but also in our approach and direction. This is why we persist in our efforts to foster unity and collaboration. However, as we pursue unity and collaboration, we are not ignorant of the natural law that states birds of the same feather flock together. We are under no delusion whatsoever, ladies and gentlemen, thinking that we can bring every individual and group in Ambazonia together. Not at all. Those groups within the struggle that have different aspirations and ambitions from those of a free and independent Ambazonia have no place at all in our unity and collaboration efforts. We don't put on the same feathers. They insist that it must be their way or the highway, and that reaching Boya first is all that matters. That's what they say, and those are their priorities. They are firmly fixated on the notion that if unity is to be achieved, it must be on their terms, and they must maintain control and leadership. These groups and individuals reveal that their struggle is no longer for a free Ambazonia. Rather, it is a fight for dominance and power for themselves and perhaps their families. Why we remain steadfast here at the interim government in our commitment to unity and collaboration, we will recognize and distance ourselves from those who do not share our common vision and values for a free and independent Ambazonia. Ladies and gentlemen, how can we easily forget the lessons we learned from the SDF party? The bitter memories remain vividly in our minds. Many of us Ambazonians boldly took the streets, enduring the water cannons of La République du Cameroon, to embrace the launch of the SDF party, hoping that it would emancipate all of us. In the favor of that moment, we were promised that the SDF party would put an end to the suffering of our people. We were assured that the SDF would empower the people of Ambazonia and introduce democracy in that country. Isn't it disheartening today to realize that the SDF failed to fulfill any of these promises? For more than 3 decades, the SDF devolved into a clique for a select few individuals who sought personal gain and status. The SDF did not alleviate our suffering, did not empower our people, and it did not establish democracy, not even within its own organization or ranks. Suffering always ceased for Chairman John Frundi, Joshua Osi, their relatives, and perhaps a small circle that surrounded them. Power remained entirely and firmly too in the hands of Chairman John Frundi until his passing, along with those close to him. Frundi never relinquished his hold on power, so to speak. And when it comes to democracy, it never materialized, neither within the party nor in the country. Frundi departed, still the chairman of the SDF. As we wage this war anew, it is crucial that we reflect and learn from the mistakes of the past. We must not allow history to repeat itself. We cannot afford to place our trust blindly in leaders and groups who prioritize their own interests above the collective we and future destiny of 8 million Ambazonians. The struggle for our freedom and self-determination will not be hijacked by those seeking personal power, glory, and control. It is a fight that belongs to every Ambazonian, and it should be guided, ladies and gentlemen, by principles of justice, equality, and inclusivity. We must remain vigilant and discerning, ensuring that those who claim to lead us are genuinely committed to the ideals and aspirations of our people. True leaders will not seek to exploit the movement for their own gain, but will work selflessly, and I mean selflessly, towards the liberation of Ambazonia and the betterment of every citizen. Let us remember the sacrifices made by our brave men and women who have laid down their lives in the pursuit of our freedom. They didn't seek power, glory, and control. They just wanted their own free country. Their sacrifices should not be in vain. We owe it to them and to future generations of Ambazonia to build a new country founded on the values of transparency, accountability, and respect for human rights. Let us therefore unite under a common purpose, free from the trappings of personal ambition and power struggles. The destiny of Ambazonia is in our hands, and it is through genuine unity, and I mean genuine unity, collective action, and unwavering determination that we will achieve the free and prosperous Ambazonia we all fight for. Fellow comrades, ladies and gentlemen, I am presenting a crucial idea to you today that I believe is the final attempt by the interim government to establish unity and collaboration amongst us. Last December, we proposed the formation of a governing coalition or council consisting of frontline groups. The purpose of this coalition was to facilitate agreement on common areas of collaboration, prioritize them, and form a rotating leadership that changes every 6 months. This way, we thought no single group would be seen as dominating, and the leading group at any given moment would only execute the coalition's agenda, not that of their own group. The suggested areas of collaboration included ground zero defense, diplomacy, lockdown and ghost towns policy, school policy, a common roadmap, refugee and humanitarian policy, and communication, among others. When we initially presented this idea to other groups, all the leaders were consulted and were agreed that it was such a great concept of collaboration. However, when we called them to participate in a meeting or in meetings to fine-tune the details, none of them showed up. Instead, a series of conferences followed. We here attempted to organize a conference in Washington, D.C. to discuss the idea and to build on it. But the coalition of people and groups we brought together could not agree on the format of the conference. Around the same time, the idea of a Canadian conference was also floated. We agreed it was a good alternative to Washington. However, we were ignorant of the undercurrents behind the Canadian conference. The planners of the Canadian conference only consulted with us once, and I mean once, and did not involve us in the planning process. To ensure our participation, we suggested that all the frontline leaders and major stakeholders be brought together into a meeting to pre-plan the conference, discuss the agenda and understand it, and refine it according to their preferences. This way, we thought they would have ownership and enthusiasm for the conference. But again, the planners agreed that this was such a the best approach to convening a conference that would be embraced by all Ambazonians. Unfortunately, this plan never materialized, it never took off. The planners had their own agenda, and it seemed that they expected us to simply join in without any idea of what it is or input. The conference proceeded irrespective of the lack of inclusivity. Its outcome has been largely ignored, and the conference made inconsequential. However, while the Canadian conference was taking place, representatives from other groups, including the interim government, your interim government, met with some international partners in Washington, D.C. They had chosen to intervene and assist in uniting Ambazonia. Following a month-long consultation, they conducted several surveys and reached conclusions indicating that the vast majority of Ambazonians desire unity and collaboration. However, the recommendations for implementation fell below realization. Upon examining the recommendations, it became evident that they would not provide a viable solution to unity and collaboration. I will spare you the intricate details. I am making this narration to update you with background efforts that have been tried to build a united or collaborative front. While they all have failed, so to say, some individuals have suggested that the idea of a government is the root of the problem, or was the root. They argue that the concept of government was fundamentally flawed. Some have proposed the establishment or creation of something new. The ideas range from forming a revolutionary council or a governing council to maybe war council or independence council, among other names. But here is what my take is. Whatever label, ladies and gentlemen, that is given to it doesn't make any difference. It is just another group with the same old actors. It is essentially an attempt to reinvent the wheel by disguising it with new names. Changing the name will not alter the character and mindset of the individuals involved. In this ongoing struggle, people have already become entrenched in their group affiliations, and the majority of them are unwilling to let go of those affiliations. Nothing wrong with that. Consequently, these various names amount to nothing more than putting lipstick on a pig, and it does not change the fact that it is still a pig. This is where the importance of a coalition of the willing arises. The coalition of the willing is not a new group. It is a league of like-minded persons and their groups. A coalition of the willing is crucial in this context. It involves individuals and groups who are genuinely committed to achieving the common goal of uniting Ambazonia. People, again, of like-minded. It transcends superficial name changes and focuses only on bringing together like-minded individuals who are ready to set aside personal agendas and work towards the greater good. Creating a coalition requires a shift in mindset, not name change. It demands a departure from the divisive group dynamics that have plagued the struggle thus far. Instead of clinging to individual affiliations, participants must be willing to embrace a broader sense of unity. It necessitates a collective understanding that the real enemy lies in the oppressive forces that have caused suffering and division within Ambazonia. A coalition of the willing, ladies and gentlemen, should be built on principles of inclusivity, transparency, and accountability. It should prioritize the voices and concerns of the Ambazonian people. ensuring that their aspirations and rights are at the center of any decision-making process. This coalition should transcend regional, ideological, and political differences, fostering an environment where open dialogue and constructive collaboration are valued. Real progress lies in the formation of a strong and united coalition of the willing. It is through this collective effort that Amazonia can overcome internal divisions, confront external challenges, and move closer to realizing the aspiration of its people for self-determination. For those who want you to believe the idea of a government was the problem or is the problem, let me say this to you. The fundamental idea of the interim government from Zaire, Nigeria, revolved around a coalition comprising of diverse groups. Consequently, the Restoration Council was established to represent these various groups, ensuring that all the groups had a say in the governance process. When we established local government areas and the counties in Germany, it did not preclude other groups from the Restoration Council. It merely expanded its scope. My proposition is that if we collectively agree that the interim government was not a flawed concept, it was not a bad idea, we should rectify its shortcomings, we should fix it by returning to its roots and addressing the issues that went awry, the issues that went wrong. SCAPO and the SCNC were members of the interim government coalition, alongside several others. Today, I am appealing for the formation of an interim government that emulates the original idea, which I here refer to as the coalition of the willing, the coalition of the critical mass. This is all that is required to liberate Amazonia from the clutches of La République du Cameroon. A robust coalition of willing individuals united under the banner of the interim government. Allow me to explain why this is of utmost importance, ladies and gentlemen, and absolutely a necessity. Cameroon turned a deaf ear to our pleas. Paul Biya responded by declaring war against us. In response, we proclaimed never again, and then declared our independence. To substantiate this declaration, we acknowledge that a republic or a country cannot be declared without a government. Hence, we rallied behind the idea of an interim government. The international community heard our resolve, and it knows that we have a government. Can you imagine how childish and inconsistent we will look like if today or tomorrow the same international community is told that we dissolve the government, we dissolve the interim government? Think about that. How childish would appear. If we do so, we would have nothing to show that we are a sovereign people. If we do away with the government, we have given Cameroon just what it has been looking for all these years. Cancelling the idea of a government just gives La République du Cameroon the leverage to say Amazonia doesn't exist. It says we are one Cameroon. It is capitulation, surrender. Before addressing you today, I made quite a handful of calls to some of our patriots, frontline groups, leaders, and stakeholders, including the SCNC, SCAPO, Professor Carson Anyangwe, Pa Augustine Ndagam, Elvis Komita, and Chairman Prizo, among others. I held discussions at the cabinet level and with the leadership of the Restoration Council, plus the county and LGA chairs. All are in agreement we should go back to the roots and fix the interim government. We should form a coalition of the willing, with groups that want to belong, want to participate. It is still called the interim government, but groups keep their own identities. In the proposal, the LGAs and counties are reconstituted with fresh elections in every LGA and every county to ensure that a level playing field and an open door to all who are out there and want to participate can come in. Once the LGAs and counties have been reconstituted, they then pick or elect their Restoration Council representatives. At the ROC level, the groups forming the coalition send their own representatives to the body. Once the Restoration Council is fully reconstituted, elections for House leadership are conducted just as in the counties or the LGAs, and the leader and executive of the Restoration Council emerges there. The reorganization there is then complete. To make sure that this reorganization gets all the way to the executive branch, we can either call for early elections or presidential elections or wait for the current term to finish. If the decision is to let the current term expire before elections, the president should reshuffle the cabinet to form an all-inclusive government that represents the coalition and aspirations of all the people represented. That is my plan for the coalition of the willing. I hope it is a fair proposition and makes sense to all. In the coming days, I will continue consultations with the hope of coming up with a more detailed schedule of events. But before I go, I have some good news to share with you. I am pleased to formally announce that 4 days ago, the Washington, D.C. Secretary of State officially incorporated our trademark, the interim government of Ambazonia. This incorporation covers us in all states in the USA. I would like to emphasize the significance of this milestone. The official incorporation of the interim government as a legal entity in the United States grants us greater authority and legitimacy. It demonstrates our commitment to operating in a professional and organized manner. With this legal protection, we can now take necessary legal measures against any entity that tries to misrepresent or infringe upon the name of the interim government of the Federal Republic of Amazonia. This achievement should not be taken lightly. It symbolizes a new era for our cause and underscores our determination to protect our identity and reputation. Therefore, I urge all individuals or groups currently using the name Interim Government of Ambazonia to promptly initiate the process of selecting alternative names and update their official documentations and correspondences accordingly. By securing this exclusive right to our trademark, we strengthen our position and ensure that the people's interim government remains distinct and recognizable. Let this announcement serve as a reminder that we are resolute in our pursuit of justice and self-determination for Ambazonia. Together, we will navigate the path ahead, safeguarding the interests of Ambazonia and striving for a better or brighter future. Now is the time for us to capitalize on this incorporation. We must leverage our newfound legal standing to advance our cause with integrity and effectiveness. It is therefore incumbent upon us to use this exclusive reserve of the trademark to our advantage, ensuring that it remains synonymous with the genuine aspirations of the people of Ambazonia. I encourage all stakeholders and supporters to embrace this announcement. Spread the word. Let us stand united and assertive in defending our identity against any impostors or detractors. Together, we can ensure that the interim government of Ambazonia is recognized as a true representative of our people's aspirations. As we forge ahead, ladies and gentlemen, fellow comrades, I will continue my consultations and work diligently to provide a detailed and comprehensive calendar of upcoming activities towards this coalition. Rest assured that I am committed to the betterment and preservation of Ambazonia. And I remain grateful for the unwavering support of each and every one of you out there. Thank you for your attention. Let us move forward with confidence and determination. Short live the war. Long live the Federal Republic of Ambazonia.